Chilling, that horrifying shooting on board a subway train yesterday in Brooklyn. As our top story continues this morning, extended video revealing a woman police are now looking for. She was with the 32-year-old suspect when they got into a verbal discussion, an argument. A physical dispute broke out with the shooting victim, and then it all happened on board an A train in downtown Brooklyn. The 36-year-old victim now in critical but stable condition.
And this comes at a time when subway safety is really top of mind for New Yorkers. And they have questions. We have questions. We are joined now by MTA Chair and CEO Janno Lieber. Thank you for being with us. I watched the video that was shot on the train as I rode on the subway to work this morning with tears in my eye. The fear I felt on behalf of those passengers, I can only imagine. They were stuck on a train while this fight's happening and gunfire. It was horrifying. You watched it. What's your reaction? And what can you tell us, the riders, to make us feel even a little bit better today?
Listen, your reaction was the reaction of virtually every New Yorker I've spoken to. I was on the trains this morning. I've been on 4 or 5 times. And I've sat with people and talked to them about it. They had the same reaction you did. That to be in an enclosed space with that kind of violence going on is the most unsettling thing that can happen. They also told me that the one thing that makes them feel safer in general is to have uniformed officers constantly present in the system, and that is happening. In this case, the presence of uniformed officers led to immediate apprehension. You saw in some of the videos the officers streaming down the stairs as people are rushing out of the system. So that is, something that we're going to continue to focus on. Governor, mayor, it's all about pushing more uniform presence into the system, because that's what our riders tell us I want. But your reaction is every New Yorker's reaction. We can't, one thing I'm going to underscore is guns. That guy had an illegal gun. I'm not interested in arguing. I mean, we don't know now who was responsible and whether there will be charges or not. But what we do know is there was an illegal gun present. There are people in the United States who are pushing for there to be guns anywhere and everywhere, even in a crowded place like the New York City subway system. Governor fighting back on that, and I am insistent that we cannot have guns in the system.
All of us that watch that video are just nauseated by imagining yourself in that situation. I live in Brooklyn. I take this particular train with my family, my 3 young kids, to imagine being huddled in this situation. You mentioned cops on the platform, which is amazing that they were able to apprehend the person when they did. However, there was no officer in this particular train car. It would be almost impossible from a numbers standpoint. What are we doing? You talk about guns. I know the mayor has talked about metal detectors. How close are we to deploying those? What else can we do? Because a lot of people are looking at this saying, I don't know if I can be on the train. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, listen, I think there are a couple of things that are going on. One is in addition to having 15,000 cameras in the system, and some people say we have more cameras than a Las Vegas casino, we're also putting, for the first time, cameras inside all of the subway trains, even the ones that are a little old. So that is we hope and expect will be a serious deterrent to misbehavior. But the other thing that's going on in the system and in New York in general is a presence, and I'm not prejudging the specifics. The mayor said that one of these, the guy who was the victim had mental health issues. But broadly speaking, the other thing that New Yorkers are saying is that seriously mentally ill people need to be in treatment and not in the public space where they're suffering and in many cases acting out is terrifying to people. That is part of what the sense of disorder that we're getting in the public space sometimes, and especially in the subway. Part of the announcement last week that the governor did, everyone focused on National Guard, which spreads our uniform presence, but also she's giving us resources to go specifically at seriously mentally ill people who are living in the transit system so that the riders can feel safer. I think that we want them out and in treatment, and that will help.
Well, and I know Danny has a question, and just to follow up on that, though, how is that process going to work? Are there teams going out right now, going through the system, saying this person needs to be removed and gets the help they need?
Read the report that literally has gone on Gothamist, WNYC. There's another report going out literally in the last few days. We pioneered this in the last couple of months, having clinicians who are trained in the law of involuntary commitment. When you say, you, sir, are struggling so much that you need to be in a psychiatric facility, albeit temporarily, to hopefully get you stabilized and back on your feet. But to make that decision, We have clinicians who are specifically trained in that, who are going out with 2 or 3 police officers backing them up so they feel safe approaching those people, interacting with them. Then they stay with them to make sure that they get into a bed, into a facility. They don't go out the back door after somebody else says, no, they're all right. No, they go into the facility. So this is a program that the governor has given us $20 million extra to do that we think is hopeful. It's a real issue. It's a real issue for New Yorkers. That's what I hear from them, in addition to the...
I agree. I am with you on that.
So my thought here is this happened during rush hour, you know, just before 5 p.m. This is coming at a time where, with congestion pricing, you're trying to encourage people to take advantage of our mass transit system. But this was the middle of the day, and I know perception is big. It's great to see officers and National Guard, but we need actionable items, and the list of things that you want to do when it comes to cameras, metal detectors. Is there actually like a time frame so that by the time you're pushing more people to mass transit, they know that, you know, those actionable items have started?
Danny, I respectfully, I want to say, I don't think this is the day to debate congestion pricing. So, but I will say this, that the issue is subway safety for everybody.
Yeah.
The number of people who are going to be brought onto the mass transit system as a result of congestion pricing is comparatively small. We had 4.1 million people on the subway yesterday. We're talking about adding 30,000 maybe. So the issue is safety for everybody. The cameras are actually being installed as we speak. That was an initiative the governor pushed out, and she actually squeezed the timetable down. Going to be done by the end of the year. We've already had cases where we apprehended criminals with attacks because we have cameras inside the trains. Every one of the things I talked about is going on right now. Thank you for asking.
These cameras, are you watching them live, or are they just recording? And related to that, you have a presence of police and the National Guard's members right now, but yet there are crimes still being enacted. So the deterrent, talk a little bit about the cameras, but the deterrent of having more bodies, does that actually do anything?
Yeah, you know what, the criminals are aware of it. We see cases where some of the guys who are chronic criminals are actually trying to cover their faces, but we get them all the time. The cameras actually work. The cameras are resulting in massive apprehensions. Our push and the governor's push, another initiative she talked about last week, is we need more cooperation with the DAs. Because what happens is you get people who, I've talked about this a lot, we had 38 people arrested for assaults on transit workers last year. Only 11 of them were indicted. And they all had huge records of priors, depending on what you count, 600 to 1,000. So we need more of those people. We need focus on people who are committing subway crimes and
keep
recidivism.
them out of the subway.
Keep them out of the subway system. I'm not telling people exactly how to do bail or anything. That's not my point. Is I just don't want them back in the system again and again and again.
Are the cameras live, or they're recording?
A lot of them are live, but the key is, can we use that data to make sure we apprehend? And then once you've identified somebody as a recidivist, whether he's a pickpocket, most of our crimes are not of violence. But even if someone's just doing a pickpocket, or they take an knife, I want them out of the system, because these guys are doing it for a living. It's like the retail theft problem.
Yeah.
That is an area where we need the rest of the criminal justice system, where they arrest people. Now the criminal justice system has to keep them out of the subway.
Janno, we thank you for coming on today. I know a lot of New Yorkers are on edge. We hope that this helps them feel a little safer going out onto their commute today. And we hope for a safe stretch ahead.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.